Good evening. I'm interviewing Madam Odile Reno-Bassoyi, the President of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development tonight. Madam Reno-Bassoyi, thank you for accepting the invitation.
Thank you for inviting me. Very happy to be here.
And thank you for hosting us in your lovely office. Madam Reno-Bassoyi, I know that you've been having meetings with high-level dignitaries in the private sector recently. What has this all been about? I mean, what's on the agenda right now?
I mean, the core of the... First of all, I'm very happy to be in Armenia, and because Armenia is an important country of operation for the EBRD. And the purpose of my visit here is to take stock of where we are in terms of financing project, the implementation of our strategy, and to discuss with the authorities, the government, but also our clients and partners to see how we can do more and how we can provide support for the development of the country, the economic development of the country.
Have you had enough time to come to tangible agreements to make decisions on the future of the cooperation as well?
Yes, because it's, of course, very dense day with a lot of meeting in a packed agenda, but this is also the outcome of a long-term work, and partnership with our partners here and the authorities. And we have a strong team here, and there has been behind this trip and these meetings a lot of preparatory work, so which makes it very efficient. And we are building on, we've been there since almost 30 years, and we've built, as I was saying, long partnership, invested more than 2 billion euros in the countries on 200 projects. So this is not coming, I'm not coming and from scratch, but really building on everything that has been done and all the work done by our team in the country.
So it's more like a planning process of what future cooperation is going to look like.
Yes, exactly.
Can I get it right?
Exactly. Is to discuss what we have been doing and what's next. What are the priorities from the government perspective? What we see as key for the future of the country, and so we are discussing future project also. And I was just signing, for example, an agreement with the bank, a loan agreement with the bank in the same building here, and which is, the outcome of a lot of work, but then it opened up financing for SMEs to enhance competitiveness and so forth. So this is exactly what we aim to do, and what I aim to do coming here.
Madam Reno-Bassoyi, I'm sure you've been following Armenia's economic growth recently, and it was quite impressive. At least it was far ahead of what was previously expected and predicted. Do you think it is sustainable, though?
Indeed, the growth outcome has been much stronger than what was expected. Strong rebound from COVID, and then this year also probably double-digit figures, so very strong growth. It's related to some exceptional factors, and it's difficult at that point of time to know whether they will last or not. For example, inflows of people coming from Russia, Belarus, Ukraine, so bringing high-tech skills, also some financial resources. So this is, but it's difficult to say whether but some elements may last. So I think it's a positive news for the country. Of course, it's important also to, and that's what we are really aiming to do, develop, domestic activity and the underlying strengths of the economy, not only to rely on these factors, but still it's helpful at that point of time.
What challenges and opportunities do you see for the Armenian economy?
No, I think the challenges are, of course, that the world globally is facing challenges such as inflation. So this is also something the Armenian economy has been facing, and the tightening of monetary policy, and so the balance of the macroeconomic policies is a bit under pressure. But and you have some challenges to grow the economic activities, the SMEs, capabilities, export capabilities, diversification of the economy. All these are very important challenges for the country. Also to improve and move towards decarbonization, greening of the economy, but also high education, quality of the education, quality of the functioning of the institution, fight against corruption, rule of law, legal system. So there are some challenges, but there are also some very important opportunities. And I think that the country has some strong assets. So, for example, I was meeting with the tech sector yesterday, and I've been very impressed by the dynamism and the entrepreneurship spirit of this sector. And I think this is a big asset with very strong skills and very innovative project in the sector, which it's really an opportunity for the country. There are also some natural opportunities. For example, we are working in the bank very much focusing on renewable and the development of greening the economy, and this country has a huge potential in terms of solar, natural potential.
Since you mentioned energy security and renewables, what is the bank's role in the regional developments in this sense?
So we are focusing very much on two dimensions. Our role is twofold. First of all, is providing advice and expertise and working hand in hand with the government in the design of the policies and the framework which would be favorable to develop renewable. And we've been doing that in the last few years. And the second element is to finance. When you have renewable projects, to finance them. And we have been financing the first solar plant in the country, utility solar plant in the country. And this is, very good because it provides green energy. It brings in the country foreign investors, Spanish foreign investors, and 56 megawatt of electricity, clean electricity. So I think this is the kind of project we would like to see developing, growing, and we are very optimistic about this. We really believe this is a key priority for the country, will enhance security, and will also provide cheap energy.
Do you see any challenges in developing renewable energy in Armenia?
No, I think what is important is to have the right framework to facilitate, so that, for example, if you develop auction mechanism, then you're sure that you have the best price so the cheapest possible price. As I was saying, I think there is a big potential for solar. For wind sector, it may be because it's you need to transport big components, which may be a bit more tricky. But I think, overall, there are a lot of opportunities in this sector.
More opportunities than challenges.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying? All right. What other projects is EBRD carrying out in Armenia? I hear about recent signings. I hear about the pipeline, and also the focus, the strategic focus would be very much appreciated if shared.
So one of our key priorities is to develop the private sector. This is in the mandate of the bank, and to do that, we have been working in the last 20 years very closely with the banks, the key banks in Armenia, in order to provide liquidity line, credit line to finance SMEs, to enhance their competitiveness, their standards, but also dedicated credit line with specific support for women in business and green transition. So we have, and also trade finance. So we have, in a way, all our instruments the EBRD has developed over the years are there available in Armenia through the banking system with our strong partnership with the banks. And I've just signed a loan of $25 million in order to support the SMEs with ACBA Bank. We are also trying to develop loans in local currency so as to avoid currency mismatch, for example, very important in the agricultural sector. So this is one very important pillar of our activity. The other pillar is green transition, as I was saying, but also development of infrastructure. So green infrastructure is possible. So on the energy, we discussed a lot what we've been doing in renewable. We are also working a lot with the electricity network Armenia, ENA, to develop the network, this is key if you want to have more renewable and to ensure that it's sound and sustainable. But we are also working on some road infrastructure which are very important to unlock the country and to develop economic ties and capability to export and trade with key partners. We've been, and I went through yesterday the bridge, what is the friendship bridge between Armenia, which is at the frontier between Armenia and Georgia, which was financed by EBRD. We are working with other international institution on the north-south corridor, which would road project to the Sonic region nearby Sonic, which is very underdeveloped. So we understand that is a key priority for the country and for the economic development of the country. So we are working very hard on that. And last big project in terms of infrastructure is the border crossing infrastructure in Megri, so with Iran. So that's, in terms of unlocking the country, I think that's a key project we are working on. This is project which needs time to be developed because infrastructure you need a lot of studies and so forth. But we are working very hard on that. And the last element, and also in relation with the private sector, but is the overall environment for business and so forth. So we are working with the Investors Council, which brings together private sector partners and government in order to identify what are the needed policy in order to facilitate private sector investment. So, and
sounds quite a lot.
It's quite a lot, and we are also financing directly some private investment. For example, very proud to have invested in Telecom Armenia, which to finance the development of the access to broadband to 450,000 people in the country. So this is also the kind of project so we look at all opportunities in order to enhance our activity there.
Mm-hmm. Addressing the needs that you see. Yeah, one more thing. An
important point I wanted to mention also, because it has an impact on the day-to-day life of people in the country, is our activity with the municipalities. For example, in Yerevan, we've financed with a Green City program some greener buses that will come, I think, in the coming months, and that will facilitate
the transportation the traffic
and so forth. And we are working on also with Yeremi. So this is a very important project for us with the municipalities because it has an impact on the day-to-day life of people here.
Mm-hmm. Armenia's financial sector, how would you assess the resilience of our financial institutions? Is what we have, the resilience that they show, is it enough to face the challenges we're facing?
I think the fact that we are working with the bank and have very strong partnership here with the bank is a good sign because our risk and expert people are very, aware and meticulous in assessing our partners. So I think that shows our confidence.
How has the ongoing war in Ukraine affected the economy all over South Caucasus?
Overall, South Caucasus is, as in the case of Armenia, we were a bit worried at the beginning of the war about the negative impact it may have on South Caucasus. At the end, what we see in Armenia is also appears in other countries, and for example in Georgia. So overall, the area has been growing quite strongly, and with some because of some inflows of Russian people, also Belarus, Ukrainian people, and so forth. So, with a sort of short-term impact, which has stimulated growth, there are other regions of the world which are much more negatively affected, and that's the case, for example, in the Mediterranean region, where you see the impact of energy price, food prices, and so forth, having the other way impact.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I've been interviewing Madam Odyl Reno-Bassoy, the President of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development.